Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Jamal Abdi. He's a policy director at the National American-Iranian Council. That's a grassroots organization representing the Iranian-American community. Thank you very much for being here to talk to us. So the Israeli Prime Minister is expected to urge the US President to get tough over Iran when they meet at the Oval Office next week. Do you think that Obama is going to make the kind of commitment that Netanyahu is perhaps looking for?
Well, the funny thing is the president has already been so tough on Iran and has really made some concessions to Netanyahu in the past on issues like diplomacy, like sanctions. I think that Netanyahu is going to work to exact or to use maximal political pressure on the president to try to get him to take some new concessions and take some new hard lines. And what we've seen is that it appears the White House is not willing to cave on this, but I think that a lot of these pieces are still in motion, and we're going to see this as the first part of a political battle that's going to play out.
Right, so you don't think that there'll be any new red lines that will get laid out over Iran as far as the US president is concerned?
We're not going to see new red lines laid out at the Monday meeting. What we may see, though, is a heightened campaign by Congress, by the AIPAC lobby, to put pressure on the president to draw those new red lines, with negotiations coming up with Iran that could really be poisoned by new red lines being drawn.
Right, you mentioned the AIPAC conference that's going to be going on. The full power, of course, of the pro-Israeli lobby will be on display. How do you think that is going to feed into setting the tone about the debate over Iran?
It's gonna feed into it very heavily. We're facing an election not just for the president, but also where the balance of power in Congress is really up in the air. And you have Congress. Every prominent member of Congress is going to be at this conference. You have the president there, and for the first time, you actually have the president's challengers speaking the day after the president goes on. So this is going to feed that election campaign for the next several months.
Right, and you mentioned that you don't expect any new red lines to be sort of set up by President Barack Obama, but does the president buy into Israel's strategic calculation that you have to take out Iran's nuclear capabilities now before it is actually able, perhaps in the future, to go out and build a nuclear bomb? Does he buy into that?
He doesn't. This is where the fissure is. The fissure is that the president has laid out a red line. He said if Iran moves to build a nuclear weapon, that's unacceptable. He hasn't said if they have the theoretical capability to do that, that would then be grounds for war, because the fact is, technically right now they have that capability. Technically Japan, the Netherlands, Canada has the capability to build a nuclear weapon. It's a question of intent, and the president has been firm. The only way to actually stop Iran from making that decision is to convince it not to make that decision.
And just very, very quickly, where's dialogue, where's engagement in all of this? It seems to have become one of those demonized issues.
We have talks that are expected to come up in a matter of weeks. The Israeli Prime Minister is going to ask the president to set some pretty stringent preconditions on those talks that could actually poison the well and block them from happening.
All right, Jamal Abdi, thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you.